What happens when a police captain's wife steps into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom and tries to intimidate him with her husband's badge? You're about to witness one of the most outrageous displays of entitlement ever recorded, followed by a betrayal so stunning, it will leave you utterly speechless. This isn't merely a story about a drunk driver facing the law. This is the moment a woman who has spent decades hiding behind her husband's authority comes face to face with a judge who refuses to let power, privilege, or a badge stand in the way of accountability. Some lessons can be learned with a phone call to the right person. Christine Morrison is about to find that out the hard way. Let us know where you're watching from, because what happens next, what Judge Caprio does to this entitled woman, and what her own husband does, needs to be seen worldwide. It's a cold Monday morning in Providence Municipal Court. 9:30 a.m. Judge Frank Caprio is reviewing one of the most serious cases on his docket. Christine Morrison, 42, faces charges of driving under the influence causing serious bodily injury, leaving the scene in reckless endangerment. These charges stem from an incident 4 weeks ago that left an elderly couple hospitalized and a community demanding justice. On the evening of October 15th, Christine left a downtown wine bar after 3 hours of drinking with friends. Security footage shows her stumbling toward her Mercedes SUV, dropping her keys twice before finally getting in. She drove away at 8:45 p.m., later testing at a blood alcohol level of 0.15, nearly double the legal limit. At 9:02 p.m., while driving through a quiet residential neighborhood, Christine ran a stop sign at Hope Street and Angel Street, colliding with a 1998 Honda Civic driven by 73-year-old Robert Chin, with 71-year-old wife Margaret in the passenger seat. The impact spun their car 180 degrees into a telephone pole. Robert suffered 3 broken ribs and a shattered collarbone. Margaret's injuries were worse: a fractured hip, a broken wrist, and a severe concussion that left her unconscious for nearly an hour. Christine paused for roughly 15 seconds, witnesses later reported. Long enough to see the damage. Long enough to hear Margaret's screams. And then she drove away. Police found her Mercedes 40 minutes later in her garage. Bumper crumpled, headlight shattered. Christine was inside, pretending to sleep. Her husband, Police Captain David Morrison, was at the station on a night shift. When officers arrested her, her first words weren't, "Is anyone hurt?" or "I'm sorry." They were, "Do you know who my husband is?" Now, for weeks later, Christine stands in Judge Caprio's courtroom with the same sense of entitlement. She enters in designer clothes that scream money and status, a Chanel jacket, flashy jewelry, an outfit that says she's used to being the most important person in any room. Her attorney, Marcus Webb, from one of Providence's priciest law firms, walks beside her with a leather briefcase likely worth more than most people's monthly mortgage. But the real attention isn't on the clothes or the lawyer, it's the attitude. Christine doesn't enter like a nervous defendant. She walks in as if attending a charity luncheon where she's being honored. Head high, calm, almost bored. She takes her seat at the defendant's table and immediately checks her phone, not nervously but casually, as if the court could wait. Judge Caprio observes quietly, as he always does. 32 years on the bench have taught him that body language often speaks louder than words. And Christine Morrison's body is screaming one message: "This is a waste of my time." The bailiff calls the case. Judge Caprio reads the charges aloud, his voice heavy with the seriousness of the situation. DUI causing bodily injury isn't a minor traffic infraction. It's a crime that could carry years in prison. Christine's attorney rises immediately, launching into a prepared statement about his client's supposed remorse, her clean record, and her community contributions. He begins to outline why she deserves leniency. Her attorney paints a picture of the devoted wife and mother, claiming this is completely out of character, that she's already been punished enough by shame and stress. It's a polished, professional defense, perfectly rehearsed, the kind that might sway a different judge on a different day with a different defendant. But Judge Caprio has read the police report. He's studied the hospital records. He's reviewed witness statements. And he notices something glaring. While her lawyer speaks of remorse, Christine Morrison shows none. She's checking her phone again, scrolling casually as if the courtroom doesn't exist. Caprio interrupts mid-sentence. Does she understand the severity of what she did? Christine looks up, mildly annoyed. Her answer is jaw-droppingly casual. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. It was an unfortunate incident. I'm very sorry it happened. I'm willing to pay whatever restitution is necessary. An unfortunate incident? Not a fender bender in a parking lot. Not a minor scrape. She nearly killed 2 elderly people and left them bleeding on the roadside. Judge Caprio presses further. Do you remember leaving the scene? Her attorney jumps in, claiming she was traumatized, in shock, not thinking clearly. She drove home on autopilot. He explains. Caprio ignores the explanation. Christine, I want to hear from you. Do you remember the decision to leave? For the first time, Christine hesitates. A flicker of discomfort crosses her face. Yes, I remember. I panicked. I made a terrible decision in fear. Caprio holds up the police report. Yet you were coherent enough to hide your car in your garage, go inside, change clothes, and pretend to be asleep when officers arrived. That doesn't sound like someone incapable of thinking clearly. Her attorney objects, citing trauma, compromised mental state. Caprio isn't listening anymore. He asks the question that matters most. Have you contacted the Chin family to apologize, to check on their recovery? The courtroom falls silent. For weeks, not a single call. No apology. No concern. Christine has been busy with her high-priced lawyer, crafting defenses and protecting herself. Caprio reviews the Chun family's victim statement. Robert spent 2 weeks in the hospital, unable to lift his grandchildren. Margaret required surgery for her hip and may never fully recover. They're terrified to ride in cars. Their medical bills top $180,000. Their car is totaled, their sense of safety shattered, and the woman responsible hasn't even said she's sorry. Christine, Caprio asks, his voice sharp, why haven't you reached out to your victims? Her answer says it all. My attorney advised me not to. Legal strategy. Any contact could be used against me. Not human decency. Not moral obligation. Legal strategy. Caprio's expression hardens. Your legal strategy may protect you in court, but it reveals your character or lack thereof. And then Christine makes the mistake that would define the hearing. She abruptly stands, startling her attorney, her voice finally shedding the carefully maintained calm. You don't understand the situation, Your Honor. You're making assumptions without knowing all the facts, she declares. Caprio asks what facts he's missing. She inhales, then delivers a line that will seal her fate. Your Honor, perhaps you don't know who I am. I'm Christine Morrison. My husband is Captain David Morrison of the Providence Police Department. He's one of the highest-ranking officers in this city. If you start imposing harsh penalties, if you treat me like some common criminal, you're going to create problems. Problems for you, problems for this court, problems that could be. The courtroom goes utterly silent. Did she just try to threaten a judge with her husband's badge? If you're not subscribed, hit that button now. What happens next is one of the most shocking courtroom moments you'll ever witness. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't flinch. His voice is calm, almost deceptively calm, as he asks Christine to clarify her statement. Christine, thinking she spotted uncertainty, presses forward. She boasts that her husband has connections throughout the legal system, prosecutors, judges, police leadership, and that it would be better for everyone if the court handled this appropriately. She's no longer subtle. She's openly trying to leverage her husband's rank to influence proceedings. Her attorney tugs at her sleeve, frantic, trying to rein her in. But Christine is beyond listening. She's been shielded by her husband's badge for too long, used it to bypass traffic tickets, skip lines, and access perks most people could only dream of. In her mind, it's a magical shield that erases consequences. Caprio asks a simple, piercing question. Is Captain Morrison here in the courtroom today? Christine falters. No, he's not here. He's working. Very busy, important responsibilities. Then Caprio drops a bomb. He orders the bailiff to scan the gallery for anyone connected to case. The bailiff scans the room and stops. He nods to a man in the back row, dressed in civilian clothes. Judge Caprio asks him to identify himself. The man rises slowly, every step commanding attention. Mid-40s, fit, with the bearing of a career in uniform. Your Honor, I'm Captain David Morrison, Providence Police Department. I'm Christine Morrison's husband." Christine's face drains of all color. Her husband has been in the courtroom the entire time. He heard everything, every threat, every attempt to wield his position. Judge Caprio invites him to approach the bench. Every eye follows him down the aisle. As he passes Christine, she reaches out, but he ignores her, moving with silent resolve. He stops before the judge, posture straight, eyes heavy with pain, shame, and moral clarity. Caprio addresses him formally. Acknowledging Judge Caprio thanks Captain Morrison, praising his integrity and moral clarity, an example of the law being upheld with honor. The captain nods silently and leaves, ignoring Christine's desperate reach. "I don't know who you are anymore," he whispers before exiting. Christine is left alone at the defendant's table, her expensive attorney suddenly looking uncertain. Judge Caprio turns to her, voice like steel. He tells her that in his decades on the bench, he's seen arrogance. But using a police officer's rank to threaten a judge, Christine Morrison's transformation is slow, deliberate, and unmistakable. She completes her required hours at the trauma center, but doesn't stop there. She keeps volunteering. Even after her obligations are fulfilled, patients begin to trust her. They see someone who has faced consequences firsthand, someone who can speak honestly about accountability and responsibility. Captain Morrison's divorce is finalized. He has moved on, quietly dating a fellow officer who shares his values. He never speaks publicly about Christine, but those close to him know he made the right choice. The Chun family continues their journey of recovery. Robert's broken ribs have healed. Margaret still uses a cane, but doctors are cautiously optimistic. Both attend therapy, working through the lingering trauma. Their grandson sees them regularly, nightmares fading with each visit. Christine herself is a shadow of the woman who once stormed into Judge Caprio's courtroom flaunting status and privilege. Luxury clothes are sold. She's moved into a modest apartment. She works a regular job in hospital administration. She rides a bus. Her license gone, her trust in herself shaken. The woman who once threatened a judge with her husband's badge is gone. In her place stands someone learning, painfully and humbly, what accountability truly means. A year after her sentencing, a local news station revisits the case. Judge Caprio is asked to comment. His words cut straight to the heart. Some people need to lose everything before they find out who they really are. Christine lost her husband, her freedom, her privilege, but perhaps in the process, she found something far more valuable: accountability. Something no badge, no position, no social status could ever buy. Subscribe to witness more moments where privilege meets justice, where judges like Frank Caprio remind the world that no one, no matter whose name they invoke, is above the law. Hit like if you believe threatening a judge using a spouse's rank is among the lowest forms of entitlement. Comment on Captain Morrison's choice to support the maximum sentence for his own wife. Because this story is about more than one entitled woman facing justice. It's about courage. The courage to choose what's right over what's comfortable. It's about a police captain who placed the law above personal loyalty. It's about remembering that every badge, every position, every ounce of authority comes with responsibility. And some people only learn that lesson when they've lost everything. Christine walked into court thinking her husband's rank would shield her. She discovered it was his integrity that truly mattered. By the time she realized that, it was too late to save her marriage, but perhaps not too late to save herself. That is justice. That is accountability. That is a legacy of Judge Frank Caprio.